Become our next U.S. representative.
Well, my name is Robb, Rourke, and I'm a fifth-generation Texan. I'm a product of Southeast Texas. And I want to run for Congress because, like our slogan says, making a new difference. Well, when you have a Congress that has a popularity rate of 13%, there's a problem there. We have things that we can do, and things that need to be done. Like, how many times have we come close to the fiscal cliff and had a Band-Aid put on it? Matter of fact, I think Speaker Boehner just recently okayed a vote to raise the debt ceiling. Well, that's wrong. That's not helping you and I. That's not helping the average person who's trying to make their way through life. Well, I think we can do better than that. I think I can go and say, let's talk, let's find a way to go and find common ground. And actually make a difference. Make a difference by saying, we can do better. And that's why I'm running for Congress.
The first few questions are actually a series of yes, no, or one-word response type questions. The questions will be at a fast pace, so there is no timer on these questions. What is your marital status? Have you ran for public office before? If so, which office? Have you ran for Congress before?
Okay.
If elected, where will your primary district office be located? How many times have you attended hearings in Washington, D.C.? Do you favor an increase in the minimum wage? That was the last of the quick response questions.
Well, I can say it's a minimum wage.
Question number 2, a 30-second response. Should a representative be required to actually live in the district a certain period of time prior to running for that office?
Oh, I say yes. Yes, very much so. I believe that if we're running in this district, like in this District 36, we need to be part of it. We need to know that, I need to know that you're there, and you need to know that I am. And I want you to be able to come up and say, hey, Rob, I got a problem. Can you help me? And I will try to do my best to answer that and help you. And as far as some of the other questions, I'd have the district office in Clear Lake.
Question number 3, a 30-second response. Will you support a constitutional amendment to require that laws apply equally to citizens and members of Congress?
Yes. Definitely yes.
Question number 4, a 30-second response. Have you read your party's platform, and do you support it?
As a Libertarian, our platform is basically less government, more freedoms. And yes, I have read it. And yes, I agree with it.
Question number 5, a 1-minute response. What is your overall thought on the Department of Homeland Security?
Well, I'll say it this way. I don't believe in the Department of Homeland Security. I think what we should do is combine it with the Department of the Interior, because we're talking about securing our borders. Well, isn't that what the Department of Interior is talking about? Our country, we can secure our country and protect our country at the same time.
Question number 6, a 30-second response. What role should the Department of Homeland Security have as it relates to cybersecurity?
I got to admit, I'm a little bit computer challenged, but I believe that if anybody should take some stance as far as helping us with cybersecurity, they're probably the people that need to do it. I wish I could give you a better answer, folks. I'm sorry. Like I said, I'm a little bit computer challenged, and I've got a computer. I'm still trying to figure out what's going on with it.
Question number 7, a 30-second response. What are your thoughts of having drones watching our borders and citizens? And should local law enforcement be allowed to utilize drones without probable cause?
My opinion exists on drones. I'm a little bit leery of it, but I will also add that as far as local enforcement, I think we might be looking at possible NSA at a local level as far as the abuse of the program. And I think that is definitely wrong. And it needs to be looked at more and studied before we should actually implement it.
Question number 8, a 30-second response. What are your thoughts on the war on drugs?
Well, I can sum it up two ways. I worked my way and came up 1 course hour short of getting my certification as a drug counselor. I believe that the idea is we should take the war on drugs to the people, actually talk with them about it, and see what they have to say. I could also say from this perspective, I have 2 cousins that went in and out of rehab for substance abuse, and I had one die from the possible overdose.
Question number 9, a 30-second response. Is government spending out of control? If so, what should be done to reduce it?
Well, I have tossed out an idea to my members, the volunteers and members of my campaign, and thinking about a 1 to 2% shaving of the overall budget per year for over a 10-year period. And I think there'll be savings there, and we can put that money to the right use and earmark them for things like our national debt, shore up Social Security and Medicare.
Question number 10, a 30-second response. What is the first piece of legislation you will personally author?
First piece of legislation I'll personally author is we have a package of education reforms that will lead to the actual implementation and responsibility of the education of our children to states, local school districts, and finally the teachers in the classroom.
Question number 11, a 30-second response. On which committee do you feel you are best qualified to serve? Please explain.
Well, I'm a bit of a history buff. In my period of history I enjoy reading about is the Cold War era. I grew up watching the James Bond movies from Sean Connery's first outing to the current Daniel Craig. Mr. Fleming was an ideas man in British intelligence. He also wrote the preface for the CIA. I would love to be on the Intelligence Committee. Or am I just foreign affairs?
Question number 12, a 1-minute response. Please share your thoughts on amnesty for the estimated 12.5 million illegals in the United States.
Well, my response is this. I think we need to have a discussion. What the problem going on in Washington is they're not even discussing anything. If we have a discussion on it, we might actually find common ground. And that's what makes sense. We need to talk first, come up with a plan that we all can agree with. Iron out differences. We're not doing that, but they're not. And that's the problem. And then they wonder why their popularity rate of 13%. We just need to make changes. And I believe the first step in that change is to sit down and talk, actually talk.
Closing comment, a 1-minute response. You will have 1 minute to offer closing comments.
Well, despite my missing of the first set of questions, I want to apologize for that. Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to say that I believe in what the government is supposed to do, and I'd say they're not doing it. Like I said, I'm a bit of a history buff. And I've always believed that we can take a lesson or two from history as we go forward in life. And if it means talking and going back to the idea of negotiating with our fellow representatives, our leadership needs to get back to that idea. Because I remember hearing about Tip O'Neill and Ronald Reagan negotiating. Everything went fine. Everything worked. There may have been a few bumps in the road because of political differences. But the idea is they negotiated, they talked. They ironed out differences. And that's what's wrong with Washington right now. They're not ironing out differences.
We would like to thank you for your participation in our